The Stranger in the Garage, a suburban horror. In the quiet suburbs of Ashwood, residents prided themselves on safety and community trust. Streets were lined with well-kept homes, children played outside until dusk, and neighbors often shared evening conversations over fences. Crime was rare, and the town had little experience with the kind of violence that could destroy its sense of peace. It all began with Megan Lewis, 28, a software engineer who had recently bought a home with her husband, Daniel. They had chosen Ashwood for its reputation as a family-friendly community. Megan's routine was predictable. Mornings at the gym, work at the local tech company, and evenings spent with Daniel cooking dinner or watching TV. One Friday night, Daniel noticed something unusual. As he returned from the grocery store, he saw the garage door slightly open. Megan's car was inside, but the interior light flickered, casting long shadows across the garage. Initially, he assumed she had left it open by mistake. But as he stepped inside, he found Megan lying on the floor unconscious, with signs of a struggle around her car. Panicked, Daniel called 911. Paramedics arrived within minutes, tending to Megan, who had been bound and restrained but miraculously unharmed physically. Police immediately began investigating. There were no signs of forced entry into the home, and nothing had been stolen. Whoever had entered the garage had done so with knowledge and precision. Detectives quickly realized this was not a random break-in. Megan and Daniel had no enemies, no conflicts at work, and nothing that would suggest targeted violence except for one detail. Megan had recently reported suspicious behavior to her neighbors. A man had been seen lurking around the cul-de-sac, often standing silently near parked cars. Observing the houses, investigators focused on a nearby resident, 37-year-old Scott Raymond, who had recently moved to Ashwood. Neighbors described him as polite but distant, often jogging late at night or wandering around the streets aimlessly. Records revealed that Scott had a criminal past, including prior convictions for burglary and voyeurism. Forensic teams examined the garage and surrounding area. Footprints, fibers, and a small scrap of cloth were collected as evidence. Surveillance cameras from nearby homes captured Scott's figure lurking near the Lewis residence on several nights before the incident. Phone records confirmed that Scott had been tracking Megan's routine. When questioned, Scott initially denied any wrongdoing. However, detectives noticed inconsistencies in his story, including unexplained absences and vague alibis. A search of his residence uncovered disturbing items, maps of the neighborhood, notes detailing the comings and goings of various residents, and tools intended for breaking into garages and homes. It became clear that Megan had been targeted, and Scott had been planning the attack for weeks. The case sent shockwaves through Ashwood. Residents realized that their sense of safety had been an illusion. The quiet streets, the friendly neighbors, and the familiar routine all could be exploited by someone who had studied the community carefully. Megan's survival was considered miraculous, and Scott was arrested and charged with multiple counts, including attempted kidnapping and burglary. Psychologists noted that crimes like this are rare in suburban America, but extremely traumatic. The violation of personal space, the place people feel safest, their homes, has a lasting psychological impact on victims and communities alike. Ashwood residents began implementing stricter security measures, installing cameras, alarms, and motion sensor lights, and neighbors became more vigilant. Megan's story spread across the state as a chilling reminder. Sometimes, the most dangerous individuals are not strangers from another town, but someone quietly observing, waiting for the perfect opportunity in the heart of your own neighborhood. Ashwood would never forget the night the stranger entered the garage, and the lesson it taught was clear. Suburban safety is never absolute, and vigilance can save lives.